Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Heelanhammer, episode 81, sponsored by Maelstrom Games. Now, this is the show that I thought would never actually come. Today we are live here, live, very live.
No reaction this time?
No reaction. Here in Heelanwood Studios for the last time, for some time.
Yep.
This may come as a shock to some of you. It might not come as a shock to some of you others. I'm sure a few of you have felt maybe that we've been a little bit slow on releasing bits and et cetera, et cetera. We mentioned last show about delaying the show to a monthly basis, which I think actually is still a good format. So if any of the other podcasts think about it, I think you can do some really good stuff in a month if you're strapped to time. But I don't know if we'd say jointly, but I've decided to.
No. We discussed it.
Yeah. We had a chat.
I haven't opposed it.
No.
It's just that at this moment in time, something has to give.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, for those of you who wonder. I mean, this isn't a joke. We're not going to suddenly go.
No, this is the truth.
This is it. I mean, we discussed a lot after the last show about what we're going to do, and I was quite pumped about the new format actually. But as time went on, I had a look at my own life, and I've got a lot going on, and it just became a point where I had no time to actually do the hobby, and I haven't got a lot of spare time as it is. And then the time I could be having a beer with Wayne or playing Warhammer, we were doing this, and plus all the time around it to kind of promote it and be worthwhile, which wasn't really happening, to be honest. We had a lot of people who have been long-time supporters of the show in the saucy section of things, and I don't think they were kind of getting the service that we always wanted to deliver in the last couple of months, and I couldn't see that we were going to end up being able to maintain that really. And the last thing I wanted was the last 3 years of our work kind of being almost, what should we say, the Podhammer way, as Podhammer went, where it almost phased out to nothing and ended up being a bit junk.
Yeah, we said if it was going to come to an end, and we kind of like to go out on top, as it were. Not saying we're on top, but it's
not saying we're the number one Warhammer podcast, but if we're going to put it out there in our last show, no, we're not, we're not that pretentious. But we like to think we do a good job.
It's we've made it pretty much as good as we can, and that's better than just letting it fizzle out, and then kind of people know it's coming, and then and then just kind of say, no, sorry, but this is it. So. But it might not necessarily be the end.
No, we should say it's a disclaimer. The site's not suddenly going to disappear. We're not suddenly taking the site down or anything like that. It's going to be sitting up there because it is something that we, ultimately I'd like to return to at some point. I mean, people who know me outside of the podcast and everything else know that I've got a bit of OCD on certain things, and I either do things 100% or I don't do them. And at this point in time, I intend not to do them. But that doesn't mean that in 6 months, year time, whatever, I fancy getting right back into it, full steam ahead, and we bust the mics out again. So it is a case of putting it on pause. The site's still going to be there. I'm still trying to gather some funds together to keep it all going, because as anybody knows who runs a podcast, there are costs associated with it that don't suddenly disappear overnight. So yeah, it's going to be around for a while. All the content's there, and looking at the viewing figures, there's still people who haven't, as usual. I think most people are caught up now, but because of the slower release schedule that we've done. But there's always times where people still haven't listened to stuff, and I'm sure there's some older content people will want to listen to. We've also still got a couple of shows that we've recorded previously that just haven't gone out yet. Not shows, but segments of shows that we were going to do for the new monthly schedule. So that's all going to go out. We're probably also going to wait a few weeks, and then I've got to turn the saucy section public for everybody to see, because we haven't had anybody pay for a saucy section regularly. I took the page down where you could actually do it, so you couldn't do it. So we're going to wait a little bit. I've not chased people for money or anything like that, so no one's being done out of their saucy subscription. They've had their time. Obviously, anybody who feels they haven't, feel free to give me an email, but I'm sure everybody looking at the dates and everything's been fine. And then I'll turn that public so you guys can all see what was going on there, and our work over the last 3 years of what's gone on, and see some of the good stuff that I know a lot of people have been keen with. Some of the shows we put out there with people like Russ Veal and all these things. They're shows we did for Saucy only that we'll pop open and let everybody listen to. So that'll be there to keep you entertained. But I think these days there's the podcasting world of Warhammer has grown massively. And back in the day, there was after Podhammer, there was us and Ben Curry at Bad Dice, and you had another Australian one that did a multitude of games. Well done radio. But since then,
D6 generation as well.
Yeah, D6 did a bit, and then since there it's moved on. You've got your Garage Hammers, you've got a load of US ones that are there. You've got the Black Sun, and Ben Curry's did a fantastic job of really pushing the boat out with what he's putting out.
The daily shows and everything like that.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of commitment you need if you really want to make the show work. I mean, I've got tons of ideas and things that we could do, but I think it's got to a point now where I don't want to, and that's not through anything else. It's just there's other things I think I should be spending my time on. And to be honest, selfishly, I'd like to spend my time enjoying myself sometimes when we do it. And like anything, I think when a hobby becomes sort of
it's got to the point where this is almost like a job in itself. Yeah. We're kind of having to do it rather than wanting to do it. It's not that we don't enjoy it, but it's just got to the point now where, I mean, it's not so much for me because I'm lucky with my work. My home life's got a good balance anyway. But where you're running two businesses and everything that's going on, it's you haven't got any time, have you? No. It's just you've literally got to plan what you do day to day. So it's much more difficult for you.
Yeah, the time as well. Like I say, the time I do have is sometimes quite nice just to be able to have a choice rather than thinking I've got to do this. And you and me have discussed. We live 2 foot away from each other, and we tend to only see each other for the show because that's what all the time allows. But you know, next week or the week after, whatever, when we want to meet up, it can be for a game of Warhammer or just sitting around and talking about rubbish or football, whatever. I don't know. It makes I'm sure people have been in those kind of situations before with other hobbies, but I'm looking forward to kind of getting back to enjoying the hobby a little bit, and that's actually slightly far further stretching than just the show. I mean, I've for a while since May, I had this probably, I don't know, was it a certain time last year, wasn't it? I think I had a bit of a downturn in enthusiasm for tournament Warhammer, and it's the same now. I'm really looking forward to the ETC. It's going to be fantastic. We've put a lot of effort in over the last sort of 10, 11 months to get prepped and done a lot of international tournaments and things. But the actual UK scene at the minute is thriving as it is. I don't know, it feels slightly stale to me, and I seem to play the same people with the same armies, and I think that's come across in probably the last couple of shows I've done. And for me, I foresee myself doing maybe one more after ETC this year, and that's it. And that'll be a local one, just for a break. I'm sure I'll be back for the Masters if I make it in. I should do, I think, looking at even if I don't do anything, I think I should be okay. Depends how everyone else does in the last few years, but last few months of the year. But yeah, just taking a bit of a backseat from tournament gaming. And I think hopefully people, I'm not going to update the South Coast GT pack that was that I plugged for the last few years on a updated process, because I want to see the scene not do it themselves, but I want to see some variety eke its way back into the scene for everybody. It's not up to me to kind of dictate the flow, and I think it's such an easy option at the moment that people just go, I'll just do South Coast. But I'm hoping if I stop updating it until the next South Coast, when me and Russ sit down again and do it, that people might just tweak it themselves or do something else. Get some no comp on the go, or do something. I don't know. I think don't get me wrong, I think it's obviously a good pack, and I think it works. It certainly works, but you do tend to see the sort of same things. Same armies, yeah. That said, comp is another discussion, and I'm not actually convinced that comp changes a lot the way it goes. Unless I don't think it does to a certain extent, because people just find that they work to the boundaries, don't they? Yeah. So whatever the boundaries are, they'll just find something that's on the limit of that works. Yeah, so, and whatever the people that are doing well are using, everyone else starts using. So it's just swings and roundabouts thing. But I'm hoping that the scene will start to branch out and do some other bits. And for me, then I'll look forward to coming back and playing, because although I love playing under my own pack to a point, like everybody else, I quite like the idea of doing some no comp. I think I've said that multiple times over the last few months, and doing some other bits. But tournament wargaming, as I say, I'm looking forward to getting ETC out of the way, being able to have some choice back into what I can play, because I think it's like everything. It's, as I say, when the hobby becomes a bit of a chore. It's the same with the armies. I have to turn up at the tournament at the minute. It's no secret I'm playing Skaven for ETC, and I would be playing Skaven, doesn't matter what. That's what I should be playing, should do it. After ETC, I'm back on the choice. I can do what I want and everything else. So as pumped as I am about the ETC, and I can't wait, the enthusiasm to attend UK tournaments at the minute is lacking, which I think also then, linking it back to the podcast, means I've got less to talk about. You've got loads to talk about, Wayne, because you're super duper hobbyist, doing loads of stuff behind the scenes. But I found the show's affected that as well, because it's kind of like, before we did the show, I was producing a hell of a lot more, and as the show's progressed, it's almost like, because I'm
So I don't know. It's constantly thinking about what I'm going to do. I end up doing less. You know, I have bursts where I'm kind of painting stuff for my army, but like safe stuff for the saucy. I mean, I haven't put anything on there for a long time and I should have been putting stuff on there regular, you know, for the about rate I do stuff. But then I'm kind of always almost second guessing myself about, you know, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And then I end up doing nothing. So the kind of as positive as the show's been, and I've loved every minute of it, and it's been great fun, and we've made you know a lot of friends, you know, and a lot of friends almost, you know, kind of sounds weird that we haven't ever met.
Yeah, we don't
because
know we've
obviously
got,
people that are listening to the show, obviously they're regular listeners, they're listening to us, and it's almost like they've got a relationship with us, even though we don't know who they are. But you know, and the feedback we've had from the show has been immense. You know, it's been so good. I mean, I had an awkward moment this weekend. I played at the Pompey Pillage, and a guy came up to me, and he said, you know, he's a big fan of the show, and you know, and all this, and keep up the good work and everything like that. And I knew we were doing this show, and but I couldn't say anything. So I kind of went, "Thank you very much," you know, blah blah blah. And then after the conversation, I kind of went back to my table and I thought, well, that was a bit rubbish, because obviously, you know, I know what's going to happen, and he's you know, invested in the show because he's a listener, he's a proper fan. So that person knows where they are, and they understand why I couldn't say anything at the time, because obviously if I'd have mentioned it, and maybe they'd mentioned it to someone else, and then before you know it would have been right the way around the hall, and everyone would have been all over me saying what's going on. So it's
but no, I mean that.
Jokingly, I mean, Ben Curry, if you're listening, world domination is now yours. You know,
we've stepped off
your
our
boots.
It's all yours. No, he does. He is doing a fantastic job, and I think that with the amount of podcasts out there, people are spoilt for choice these days, and I, as really more than anything, don't want to be in the case where we're just putting out content for the sake of doing it. You know, when we've been doing it for the last 3 years, I'd hope that based on the comments and feedback we get on iTunes and in person and on email, Twitter, all these things, people enjoy the show for what it is. And I have felt like the last few months we've kind of lost our mojo in terms of content, because like you say, you've been doing bits and bobs, I've been doing it, and I've been really lax on doing anything myself and everything else, and I think sometimes that shows through. So I think now is probably the time to do it. But linking back to what Wayne was saying, I don't think we can say thank you enough to the listeners for just the support of the show. It's been about unreal, really, isn't it? I mean, initially it was you get kind of used to it. Not the fame's the wrong word, but when you do get a lot of people coming up to you and a lot of people talking to you about the show,
I think it's always nice to get recognition for anything you do. Obviously, if it's positive, and the fact that we when we started the show, we said we'd do 2 or 3, and we just have a bit of a laugh and see what happened and see what feedback we got. And obviously, this is like show 81, so we must have been doing something right.
3 years, almost 3, well, more than 3 years now. So
and you know, and obviously getting Maelstrom on board with the sponsorship, massive thank you to them. They've been very supportive all the way through, and having such a big sponsor as well in the grand scheme of things was, you know, that was massive for us. We just thought, you know, that was fantastic. And also, you know, like you said about all the other the podcasts, because the higher the standard of all the other podcasts, the better they get, the more we pushed ourselves, and it's good for everyone. You know, the more there are that are doing, you're coming at it from a slightly different angle, and you know, concentrating on the quality and the guests they have on and the topics, and then everyone's trying to get better and do their own thing, and it's just good for everyone. The whole community itself just helps each other, and it's a really positive thing. So all the other podcasts out there, there's too many to name it, you know, because there's so many of you. But you know, thanks to all you guys as well, because you've helped us, and hopefully we've helped you as well.
And just for it generally, I mean, more than anything, we appreciate the time and effort that goes into doing these things. And also sometimes there is a small negative element on occasion to doing these things. I mean, for the listeners will remember the Spearsgate incident, and you know, there's a few things that it's very you have to be very careful with what you say, and some things you say. I mean, that one was a particularly extreme example, but just with anything, you know, if you get a rule wrong or anything, you do open yourself up.
Yeah,
you step
absolutely.
foot on a public stage for people to have a pop at you for different things. So, and we appreciate all the time and effort these people put into it, and what they add to the community. And again, as Wayne said, thanks for, you know, giving us some sort of friendly competition, and also mainly some cross promotion. Everybody does a great job, I think, in the Warhammer podcasting community of cross promotion. Just
it's
because
quite
everyone
funny
listens to everyone's show.
In some shows, there's kind of almost like this sort of jokey animosity. I mean, take us like in Bad Dice. There's this like little fun animosity, but at the end of the day, we just. The more that carries on, the healthier it is for both
yeah,
shows.
What listeners don't realise is me and Ben Curry, for depending what stage we're in at the minute of loving Warhammer and what we're up to, can speak sometimes daily or whatever, and or just chat rubbish. So that's
and I know all the guys. I get on with them great. I mean, I played Gareth. I played Gareth this weekend, and that was I would have to say that's one of the most enjoyable games of Warhammer I've had for a long time. Good, cracking bloke, because I never actually got a chance to speak to him properly before. No. So we had 2-3 hours play, because our game overrun a little bit, but nobody noticed. But lovely bloke. And it kind of joking aside, we do all get on. There is a real community. The same with everything Warhammer. There's a real community thing there, and it's only positive for everyone, because I mean, since we've been doing it, like the Garage Hammer guys, when we went on Garage Hammer show, and those guys, they were listening to our show, weren't they? And then they decided to have a crack at it themselves, and look where they've gone now. They're doing really, really well. They got a great show. Thanks again, guys. We may be back one day.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I mean, I think there's a couple of specific people I wanted to say thank you to while we're on the thank you bandwagon. First off, Maelstrom Games, we mentioned them briefly, but Rob Lane, the main man himself, there has been a long-time supporter of the community as a whole, even from sort of, I'd say he takes more of a backward seat now in terms of being a presence on the scene, but he's been a fantastic supporter.
The power behind the throne,
he's like the puppet master behind, making sure if it's going. A massive thanks to him. I mean, he's put so much of his own financial money and everything into the scene. What you can see with Maelstrom Games, and also sponsorship of the show. So thanks for that, Timmy. Maelstrom Games. I mean, there's two Timmys now, but Tim Fisher has been nothing but amazing support of the shows all the time we've been doing it, helping us with product and everything else. He's
had our back on everything, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's just been he's had his arm round us literally from day one. So massive thanks to Tim.
And although he's part of company with the company, we should say big thanks to Gary Moore.
Gary's helped us.
For always been a big support of the show. Puts up quite a few times and everything else. And I wish him the best in his new endeavour, which I've seen some bits on the net that he looks like he's out in a new gaming venue. So that's cool.
Good luck, Gary.
One that I do want to shout out, actually, I mean, you mentioned it briefly, is about this whole podcast community we've got. We should actually mention the man that gave me a lot of help when I set up, which is Jeff Carroll. We joked there about Podhammer going down the pan, and it didn't. It was a bit of a sad way the way it went in the end.
Yeah.
But what he did for the podcasting community is nothing short of awesome. When he started out, there wasn't a Warhammer podcast.
No, he started it all off.
And you look at the community, the format that people use. Yeah, all right, he might have stolen some of the format from some other podcasts, but the format. I mean, I listen to other podcasts for like World of Warcraft, football, loads of other stuff, and the formats differ wildly to Warhammer. I mean, it really is a format that has been stolen and rehashed by a lot of different podcasts. So I think there's a lot of other Warhammer podcasts could do with listening to a few other wider variety, and there's a lot of formats that work in other things that I think could work with Warhammer podcasts, but it just needs someone to do it. But no, I think a big thanks goes to Jeff thanks for his initial help. I doubt he listens to these kind of things anymore, but still, he was a massive help when we started off and really set the bar for what people wanted to do. Show contributors, we have turned some people into some mini celebrities over the year, but they that's
sometimes for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, sometimes for the wrong reasons, but that's they've put the effort in and supported us by coming and doing these things. Because again, you might hear us talk for 2 hours, but they might be here for 4 plus a long drive here. Like Brian used to drive a couple of hours to get here. We talk, and like me and Wayne just start recording this, and it's 10 to 10, and we've been here since sort of 7:30. So all these people, Russ Veal, massive fan base in the show because he does talk sense, and he's got I think people like his sense of humour.
Absolutely.
Alan Thompson, the legend, just because he is exactly that, the legend, and comes from a time that man forgot. Brian, the hobby killer Carmichael. Again, I think these days he is what people see as kind of what a lot of people like, that kind of hardcore tournament, no frills gamer. A lot of people enjoyed him, and then some of our guest stars, Simon Hoef.
Simon Hyatt.
Just trying to think who else we had on. Michael Biggs has been on. Loads of other people just contributed, and there's many more. Andy Parker.
When I did recording for there's a show on here actually, which is from Summer Incursion, which is going to be on the back of this or the front of this. I'm not sure which way around it's going, but Dave Hansen, he's always supported, behind everything. He's sort of been there. Just basically anyone that wants to, anyone that's helped out, anyone we've forgotten about that's been either been on the show or helped us out or just
specific listeners.
us.
There's a few of them. I mean, there's so many to name. I'm just going to name a few. So apologies if you've been missed out, but some people we really, really felt that we should give a shout out. Tom Landy did a lot of our back end of our website and updating it. I've got a client of mine being obviously paid to do bits and bobs for me, but the actual general. Everything you see in the nice pictures on the front of the site and the upkeep of the forum is all Tom. So, and I think he's doing that as a job now. So if you're interested in anything like that, drop me an email and I'll put you in touch with him. Steve Wren, massive supporter of the show, has been since time began, and was responsible for moderating the forum and doing some other bits. He's just been fantastic. Did me some a brilliant foot of Heelan template, which is still my favourite template. Malin, our Polish master, he's been a big support of the show, sorts us out a few different bits. What we got? Greg, it's just the people who've been on the forums a lot and created that community. Greg Dan, Dave Fraser, Simon Cerebros, the Steg. How can we forget the Steg? The Steg. Loads of people that have just helped us out with the show, and there's loads that I can't even think to name that sent us bits and bobs, bits for your projects. Bits
the amount of people that have sent me, everything from a single squig to a steam tank. Massive thanks to all you guys, and they all will get used eventually. They'll probably get used really quickly now because now we won't be doing the show. I'll actually probably concentrate on projects a lot more.
I think I've actually used all mine. I got to say.
No, I haven't used all mine.
No, there's some I haven't. I lied. There's some I haven't, but.
That's the steam tank that I got sent, which I had an idea for the Skaven. Then I actually was going to use it for an Empire army, and I've still got it. I'm actually going to stick that in the Skaven army, and use it for the original idea by splitting it right down the middle, opening it up, and it's basically been cracks called, and then having all the sort of Skaven slaves run all over it. So basically, go back to the original idea, and that's what I'm going to do with it. I can't remember who sent that to me. That was one of the Team Andy Joyce guys.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but you know who you are.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, all of you over the years. I mean, it has been a stretch of 3 years, and some of those guys that sent us stuff don't even think play anymore. But there's a lot of people who don't play that still listen to the podcast to keep their hand in. So thanks very much to all you guys. That. I'm just trying to think of any specifics, but I think that's it. The Saucy members, of course, the people, again, the expense of running a podcast isn't as cheap as it may sound. And also just being able to get us to events and subsidise some of the stuff we do has been great. And buy the new equipment and all these things. All those people who paid money for the Saucy, as I've said multiple times, I always see that as a contribution to the show rather than the service we provide. But at the same point, I just want to say thanks for that contribution. That's been... and
also to our wives.
Yes, we should say that.
Because they haven't, they haven't given us any hassle about it at all when they've had, probably in the past, they probably had reason to. So they've been very supportive. Obviously, they're not going to hear this because they don't listen to the show. No. I think they always find it a bit weird when they, then someone mentions that we're famous. So, one of us just rolls their eyes at me and goes, really?
Yeah, we're famous. No, and again, thanks to all those people that come up to me at events. I've seen so many people over the years internationally as well that have come up and spoke to us. I'm sure there'll be some at ETC this year, and it's just great to meet other gamers and people that have enjoyed the work. And at the end of the day, that's the thing, as Wayne said originally, when we started doing this, I had the equipment already from another thing, and I thought, well, okay, let's talk about Warhammer, might as well. And then it was only really the feedback from the listeners and everything else that spurred us on to do more and more and more. So thanks very much, guys. And of course, the one thank you I do want to do while we're on the air is thank you to Wayne for coming on and talking.
And thank you, Dan.
No,
if you hadn't have had the stuff in the first place, we wouldn't have been doing it.
No, so, I think it's been. I've really enjoyed my time, and obviously, we are doing this a bit like a bit of a eulogy. But at the end of the day, we might return at some point. But I want to make sure we get all these things out just in case.
I actually thought when we first started it was going to be a monumental failure.
I remember putting the first show out and thinking, I don't know what people are going to think of this, but the feedback was really good. I think a lot of people at the time were quite pleased with the quality in comparison to some of the other shows in terms just sound quality and stuff. So which has been good, and our sort of attitude towards keeping it reasonably clean and all these kind of stuff. So, but no, thanks very much, mate, for the time and effort you've put in. And
It's been a pleasure. Really... I mean, I've got the good end of it, haven't I? Because all I do is I turn up, we have a bit of a chat, we do the recording, but pretty much everything else is done by you, which is, part of the reason, because it's just so time consuming having to do everything else. I can't really help with anything because I just don't know how it works.
No, and those of you that know me outside of the show know I wouldn't let
you wouldn't let me anywhere near it anyway.
Yeah. Just a control freak, but yeah,
I'd have all the outtakes in. They'd be straight in.
I'll tell you
You'd see the real Dan or hear the real Dan.
There is some amazing outtakes I've got on my laptop that we have joked about putting in so many times, and we're still not going to put them in because it'll ruin it.
Too damaging.
Yeah, far too damaging, and the police might have a few words. So. But there is some great ones in there. But cheers, and the show. Many people have commented on it. The reason it works is because of our two different styles, I think, and it's been good. I don't think it would work if either one of us decided that we weren't going to do it, and we'd have to find someone else. I know other shows. I wouldn't
do a show with anyone else anyway, mate.
No.
So.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I wouldn't, because it's like it,
Yeah.
About getting all, getting all emotional.
Yeah.
I don't like abusing anyone as much as I like abusing you.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't be the same.
No, I 100%
feel like I was cheating.
I 100% agree with you. No, it's been good. So thanks to all those people. And as I say, it may be that we return again at a later date. But I know there's going to be some people disappointed. What I would like to hear is if you've got any comments, sort of closing comments or anything, I'll post an episode thread up on the Heelanhammer forums, and I'd love to hear your sort of comments about how you found the show over the last 3 years. And it might be that if we do return, we look back at that thread and take some feedback from it. So anything you got to say, bung it on there. That'd be great.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily the end. Just look at it as maybe a rather large pause.
Yeah, And I think we've spoke about this before. It happens generally in the hobby, doesn't it? You've had a break. I've had a break before. There's always swings around of us. Everyone returns. It's one of these hobbies you don't do. And I'm actually looking forward to doing more hobby by not having this to do as well in the hobby. So we'll still be around. I'm just, as I say, you might not see me on the UK people on the tournament scene much in the last 6 months of the year for other reasons other than my enjoyment, financial exams I've got to take, and all other things. It's just a good time, I think, to have a bit of a break. But it's not necessarily goodbye forever. But I did want to get some of these shout outs out in the time being before people forget all about us, because the scene does change. People disappear off it, and if the break's too long, we might not get a chance to say thanks to these people. So thank you very much.
And we're bound to have missed someone.
Yeah, someone's going to email me and go, "Oh, cheers then." But We do appreciate everything that's been on there, and I'm sure there might be some disappointed people listening to this, but I'm sure for others it might not be too much of a surprise. But I think you're in capable hands with the rest of the Warhammer podcasting community that are out there. They might not be quite as good as us, but at the same point,
they're all slightly different and unique in their own way, which makes it very good listening, because you're not going to get bored.
No, you don't. I mean, I try and listen to a few of them. I don't listen to all of them because there's too many. And as I say, a lot of them have the same format that everybody's done. Yeah. So it'd be quite nice to mix up. I think that's where Bad Dice is doing such a good job at the minute of mixing their format up. I like what Ben's doing with some of the quirky stuff.
I do like the difference between the sort of British podcast and the American podcast, because there's a whole different attitude to the game, between here and there. So that's good. Because stuff that we, like when I sort of mention unit choices and you laugh at me, you get a group of people laughing at me, you know what I mean? But in America, there's sometimes they go, no, that's actually a sound, because obviously the environment they play in. So that's interesting as well.
No, it is. It's all good fun, and as always, we're keen for promoting the hobby and hearing everyone else's different viewpoints. So the podcasting community is going from leaps and bounds. There's even another UK one. Have you seen that recently?
No.
Might as well give them a shout. I think it's called Six Dice Monkeys. Haven't listened to it. Don't know if it's good.
Yeah,
don't know if it's suitable. If you're under 18, listen
know.
Just in case. We don't know.
Yeah.
So, but it's another podcast done from a different section of the English community. So it's good. Tons of people are popping up. So there you go. If you want to buy any equipment, let me know.
Got 2 mics going cheap.
Yeah, got 2 extras. So there we go. I don't know what more there is to say other than thanks very much for everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the last 3 years. We certainly have. I've had some great times, met some good people. What about you, Wayne? Anything else you want to say?
Not really. I was going to say thanks again, but we just said that pretty much over and over again.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't say enough though, really.
No, you can't, because it has been. The support has been overwhelming, to be honest. We never thought that would be as popular as it has been, and obviously, if we'd had, just bad timing, but if the opportunity arose that we could have maybe seen it through to what we envisioned to be at the end, and who knows, but that might come one day. We'll just have to wait and see.
There's still time. There's still plenty of time. As I say, I don't foresee me ever stopping playing Warhammer. So.
No. I mean, I'll probably do even more stuff now because there isn't the kind of. It's kind of weird saying the pressure of the show, but it is, because it goes from just being purely a fun thing to do to being your second job and kind of having expectations to meet, and it does, and it becomes a bit of a pressure as well. And it's a bit hard to explain as you do it, because we always kind of come across as this really laid back, but there is a lot of planning involved in it, and obviously the guys that do the other podcasts, they appreciate this, because you don't just turn the mic on and away you go. Well, some maybe do, but we've never done that. So there is pressure involved in it as well. Trying to keep everyone happy, and obviously we didn't want to ever get to the end of this and people just go, oh yeah, they should have finished it because it was just rubbish, and I think
that. For me, like you were saying, you'll end up playing more. I will probably, after ETC, have a break of not playing for a while. Probably playing down the club, but not doing any tournaments. And playing. I'm probably going to lose my Thursday night down the club, but that's not the end of the world because I can play here. But because I think my missus is going back to college, and the only night she can do it for a year is on Thursday. But yeah, I'll probably have a bit of a break and then fly back into it, maybe for the Masters or something.
You just need to start playing with some quirky builds, having some fun again.
Get my Vermin Lord out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, loads of stuff. Get the lizards back out. I've got tons of stuff.
No, I say quirky, fun.
Yeah, I could do.
Doesn't involve any lizardmen.
No, I don't think I could do fun with lizardmen. It just doesn't happen, does it?
No,
I couldn't put the skinks
no,
away.
They stay in the box. Use my Skaven.
Yeah, what, your rat ogres? I'll school some noobs up with them. It'd be amazing. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's about all I've got to say. Anything else from you, Wayne?
No.
Just. I think that's
no,
it.
not really.
What I'm probably going to follow here is a load of our ridiculous adverts that we've done just for old time's sake, and then of course for the final time for an indefinite break is going to be the Chin Up, the song by Kismet, which we always play at the end. Make sure you check them out. Actually, we've pilfered their song for the last 3 years. I don't know if they are still going. I don't know. I think they're on sort of their last legs, but I'm sure if a record company picked that song up, it would have been in the charts. But I don't know. It never really happened. They came close, I think, and it for whatever reason didn't happen. But that's there. You can get them on the Twitters. But yeah, thanks again, one and all, for your support over the years. And as I say, I'm really interested to hear any comments you've had and whether you've enjoyed it, whether you haven't, everything else, how you found the last 3 years of us doing this on the thread. So please go in and post on there. If you haven't got forum access, you can still sign up. Just drop me an email when you do, because I need to activate you. Or alternatively, of course, you can email us, dan@heelanhammer.com, wayne@heelanhammer.com. Just make sure you copy us both in so we can both see it. And that's it, really. And of course, for a final time, make sure you check out Maelstrom Games. They've done so much to support the community that you should be ordering their stuff from there. They've got a brilliant new events organizer there, and they're really still pushing all the events. So good and good for the community. So make sure you support those guys. We know on occasion, due to Games Workshop tying their hands in a bit, sometimes they're not maybe as quick as some of the smaller entities can be because of their size in terms of delivery. But I think it's just a case of supporting the people and putting your money with the people put stuff back into the community. So bear that in mind. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.